What's up, everyone? We're going to run through some shots here using the newly developed practice pins. So this is going to be the first look at this functionality for Ultimate Golf. And one of the nicest things about it is just to be able to get kind of a free look at things. So let me put on something. Here's the Mojave. And one of the things that you'll see is the start practice button. We're just going to go ahead and do it here. You see a nice tailwind. You do got to be a little bit cautious with this water. So you have to be pretty good with your ultimate shots, because you obviously don't want to go into the water. I'm going to go ahead and get this sound toggled off as well. So let me just get that setting here real quick. That'll take care of that, just so you can hear me a little bit more clear. But let's just take a look where we are. Let me pop out real quick. Just go. Turn my stuff on here. All that looks good. We are, I'm not sure. I gotta take a look here. 2464. 2464. Like that one. I'm not sure. It's a barchetta too. I think it's this one. Yep, I'm still on 5 there. Ninja 4. Yeah, it's this one. So we are going to go into our meshes as well. Hit 5 scaled. Just make sure I have everything set up here. And this is with the Ultimate Golf. Guide for Ultimate Golf here. So if I was to look for this, it's this app here. Free to download, free to use. Let me just hop back out. We're going to get back to the hole here. I don't have a scaled version of this yet, but you guys could map it out. So we're not on Hive, obviously. But if I was to go and just do Voodoo, here's Voodoo. It's just going to give me a template to give me a good idea for a starting point. Now this is for Voodoo, not for Ninja, so it would be a different scale. What this is going to do is it's just going to give me a reference so I can see how far I am from the hole. It looks like right now 36% on Voodoo. And what that does is it just gives me a good idea. So if this is 36%, I'll just go in here. And really I just need it as a scale. So if it looks like I'm 36%, I'm just going to put it on that. And this is just saying 5 rings. In fact, that's a good marker just for me to go 5 exact. If I do 5, pretty much exact, it's just going to give me a nice reference. Keep in mind, we're still in practice. So there's our ultimate shot, 5 rings. You can see it's coming in very nice. It's still pretty spot on. You can see some missing ball guide there, but that's what the purpose of this practice is to be able to get back to a similar spot, but be more aggressive the next time through. So that's what we're going to do here, is we took advantage of that practice. We don't burn a replay. And we're just kind of looking at the holes ahead of time. And we're going to do the same thing, but I'm going to just kind of change my guide a little bit, keep it a little bit shorter. Because you can see that it rolled out far. So this time I'm just going to kind of make a tweak. And this is what's nice about being able to utilize this is, and especially since it won't, it's not going to take anything away from your round. So this is roughly 30% now. So if I go 7-7, we go 30%. So me pretty much 4 rings. So let's just try 4, see what that looks like. A little early on my timing. Let's see if it registers. It looks like it did. So unfortunately, a little early with my timing. It definitely looks like it came out to the right and it never seemed to break. But you could see we got a little bit closer and we had a very good chance to be able to run that one in. So that's what's nice about these practice tokens, is just being able to get kind of a very nice look, preview at the hole, and not mess up your round. So let's say, we're 3 holes in and we want to keep this round going. That's the best way to keep it going, especially if you don't know what you're about to do with the tee shot. But I'm just going to get this one off the tee. So let's just take a look at this hole. And this is the spec 4. We are close to min here. So we're going to factor that into our shot. I was trying to get it up to wedge. Obviously can't quite get there. So 7-7 here. We're going to be about 5 from min right here. So 5 for min is about 17 for max, give or take. This is going to almost push me down to min. So let's give this a look. Here you can see it's coming in, just coming in a little bit hot. You got to really keep that short. Also, it breaks to the right. I thought it was going to kind of carry momentum to the left. But you can see my adjustment was pretty good. It was doing pretty much what I thought. I actually thought that one broke to the left, though, and it actually broke right on me. So it was a little bit different. But that just gives you a nice preview. That's one of those things where if you don't know how something's breaking, and you do use a practice pin, well, the second time we set up, we can get that much better. And here's a good one that's essentially drivable. I mean, we're going to be able to get fairly aggressive with this. So let me go ahead. I'm going to put on just a little bit better ball this time. We might need to utilize this side spin. I just want to make sure that that first bounce does land on the fairway. So I'm going to try to be cautious. And there we can see we get the ultimate shot. Just a little too aggressive. It's over here to the left in the rough. Didn't quite need that much curl. But we should still have a good look at this. You're going to see from here pretty much there shouldn't be any break really whatsoever. So we're going to try to capitalize on that fact. Bring it in towards the hole like this. Hopefully we'll get our first eagle here on this par 4. And sure enough, there it is. So it gives you a good look to be able to get some of these, even in your as an early player. And something like that, you make 1 or 2 of those, there's a good chance you're going to win your brackets until you get up into those harder brackets. And another nice tailwind here. So let's just give this one a go. We won't use practice on this hole. Just kind of pick and choose, pick and choose the holes that you absolutely need it. Or it feels like a good scenario for you. And this should be real close to the kill zone as well. So very similar thing here. We're not going to break this. We're not going to break the cup with our setup because I think it's so close that it might not have to. So it's just another really good opportunity here. And there you can see we do bang it in there just a little bit. That's one of the downsides to early clubs. What you can see, I utilized full backspin there. We're able to get that eagle. And, once you have two or three makes like this, it's kind of a round that you want to secure. So if you do get yourself in a situation where you don't know what you're doing, and you can always go down a couple balls, you can utilize some of the practice pins. That's what we're going to start talking about next. So let me just do this one. Let's do this one with the practice just to take a look. Keep it in mind, we want to try to keep this round intact. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try to get this up here as far as possible. So it just gives me an idea of what my second shot's going to look like when we do actually play this hole for real. So one of the things you guys did see on my grid here is I have a height hip scaled. So if I was to switch to hip scaled, it's going to give me a good indicator of what my percentage is from the hole. You can also see, this is one of those things that's good to measure on a practice attempt. So if I start 5 rings from the pin, let me just pull straight back a little bit more because I don't think that's enough. So we're just trying to best guess estimate here. How many rings are we from the hole? And that's basically the point of what we're doing here. So let's just call this 7 rings and we'll actually go for this setup. So this is 7 rings from the pin, and this is what the beauty of practice is being able to do this and kind of work through things this way. So this is probably about 75, 76% on my hip scaled. So let's call it 76%. We'll go hip scaled, have 76%. We'll do 8-7 wind, which is 4.8 ring adjustment. So almost the edge of the bullseye. is where we're going to pull to. Keep in mind we were 7 rings from the pin as well. I'm hoping that grape shot doesn't register. It looks like it doesn't. Oh man, so I made it. So that is one of the downsides to the practice, but we should be able to replicate that. That's what's nice about using the practice though, is just getting that rehearsed so you're in the ballpark. Because I had no way of knowing if that was going to be made. But what I wanted to do was to be able to get myself an attempt where I'm going to be able to be aggressive. So now we're doing the live attempt. We should be able to replicate that. That's kind of, the purpose of this whole practice is to be able to get ourselves in a position, because you can see it was maybe coming in just a tad bit hot. So I know that 7 rings is maybe just a little bit short of what it needs to be. Keep in mind, we utilized full backspin. We kept this on line with the hole, with our guide. But keep in mind, like I mentioned, and I did it this way. I did it, instead of the second bounce, remember I used the first bounce for my alignment. So that's the other thing that we're going to do, is we're going to get this alignment down. And I could also see, like I mentioned, is that I should be able to pull back just a little bit more. So for this one, you're going to see that I'm going to set up just a little bit less than that last one. Let's just get the percentage, but it should be very close. And that's kind of what the purpose of practice is. It's actually not. So that's a good thing to check. As you can see, this actually comes in just a little bit more. I'm about 10% closer than I was last time. That's another thing worth checking. Just being able to have that feel for how close we are. Make sure you change your wind. 4.2 rings should be a nice, good estimation. Let's just go right here. Early on my timing. Still didn't register. Coming in now. Oh, so we caught the edge. So just a hair off. Not able to convert. Unfortunately, you could see that the practice was a little unaffected there. It's kind of the price that you pay for doing one of these is, it could kind of go either way. You want to utilize the practice to give yourself a good look and to be able to make a slight mod on your shot, especially on situations where you're not going to know. So let's go ahead and use one again and see if we can capitalize on the practice. Here the ball's coming down the fairway. And this is kind of those situations where you just don't know what's going to happen. We can use good estimations and we can count how far we are from the pin on our initial setup. Very similar thing here. You can see this is about 5 rings from the pin. We're going to do the same strategy that we did. For this one, I might come back even a little bit farther. And why would I do that? Because I'm shorter. And these are things that you could start documenting as well. So this is about 8 rings from the pin. But keep in mind that I'm probably only half club here. And that's part of the reason that I'm starting to come back. What is that, 60%, 59%? So it's something like 59% on my scale. So we're going to come out here. We're going to use 59% this time. On the scale, 3 rings, pretty much straight up. 8, 7, 3 rings. We want to do everything exacting. Keep in mind this is a practice attempt, so it doesn't need to go in. We're going to try to focus on getting the next one in. Let's just call that 3.0 something. And just a bit much. But this is kind of what the practice was for, is we capitalized. Now we can go back out and play the hole for real and see if we can't get this shot to fall. I'm thinking somewhere right around here. You can see we get our ultimate. Make sure when you're using this calculator tool that you are switching your wins each time, because you don't want to make that mistake. So if you remember from last shot, I believe it was too much, just barely too much. So if this is 5 rings from the pin, we're going to come back. I think my wind was, also it came back maybe just a little bit too hot as well. So I'm going to overpull now on my 8 rings. So we're going to go right about here for our initial start point. Maybe 8.2 rings, something like that. And this is 59%. So we got it out to the exact same spot. So we don't even have to touch that part of the slider. And we know that this was a little bit heavy. So if it says 316, one of the things that I can do is I can just touch this down just a little bit, or I can just kind of wing it. Like this is the case where I'm going to use the 3 instead of the 316. So we're just going to do 3 straight up because we missed to the left of the hole last time. So we're just under adjusting what we just did. And that's the key here, to get you that much closer for your next time. A little jump in the gun, but it looks like it's good. Oh man, so just a little bit too much. You know, and it might have to do with alignment as well. But you can see it just gives us another attempt to be able to refine. It's going to get a lot easier, I'm telling you guys, once you guys get farther along. So you can see, you know, you'll be able to get much closer once you get farther along with your clubs and you're not missing all this ball guide. So you can see that's my biggest hurdle. And this is a good opportunity. You can see we can get up on this green. It is the tucked pin placement. If this would have been one of the front ones, it'd be a perfect opportunity for a practice as well, because you could improve your tiebreaker. Let's say this isn't exactly where I want it. You can see that was actually pretty good. So we're going to get a lot of tiebreaker points here. 13, 20. We should be able to capitalize, convert this. Unfortunately, you know, we haven't made that last one, that last eagle, but we should be able to grab one here, get some extra tiebreakers. So that little 13, 20 there, that's going to really help us out from a tiebreaker standpoint. Oh, another short one, another shorty. So another good opportunity to get some tiebreakers. So let's just blast this down here. Usually this comes up short, so I'm expecting it short. And if you're a little nervous on this pin, that's where you take out one of your practice pins. I've had, you know, a lot of experience with pitches, so, you know, I try to convert a lot of these, but sometimes the only thing is I bring them in just a little bit hot, because there's so much missing ball guide. But this one looks pretty good. It was coming in just a little hot, but if you can keep it right on line with the pin, you should be good. But just having a practice attempt in your back pocket, especially if you're looking to get, you know, 7, 8, 9 coming in. Let's look at the scoreboard. Somebody shot 15. I'm just going to kind of just concede to that. I could have beat that. We weren't on our game sharp here. We did get an extra drop. But, if we can come in and be close to that guy, I'm perfectly cool with that. If it would have been for the win, this is a perfect opportunity to use your practice for sure. I'm just going to go ahead and do it just to see if we can't get to this 14 under number. But unfortunately, 14 is going to come up one short. But that's kind of the beauties here of the practice, is you just kind of get this look to be able to put yourself in a position to be at the top of that leaderboard. It just makes it that much more easy with the practice tokens. And we're going to use the same concept that we've been doing. I'm going to utilize one side spin because I know this one rolls out to the right. So the side spin is just going to kind of hopefully help my alignment. I'm just going to kind of get this aligned with the hole. That's 5 rings. We're going to pull down. It's a very similar concept to what we've been doing. We know that 7, 7.5 at least in most circumstances with the wedge. And you can see what my alignment looks like here. This might just be a hair off center. I'll try to. The question is, do I want to use the hole or do I want to? I think I do. So I'm going to pull straight down here and just kind of stay aligned with the hole. And you can see it's offsetting my guide to the left there on one side spin. This is about 7.5 short of the hole. And let's just see what that looks like. Give myself a percentage. What is that? 67 or so. 67%. So sorry about that. That's my subscription. It's just kind of like in a weird state, so that'll happen to me a bunch. So I'll just kind of get kicked out. Got to go back in. But 67%. 8.7 wind. It's saying 3.9. So let's just see what this looks like. 3.9, which is just short of 4. And let's just evaluate this shot. Here it's coming in, coming in. It's still too hot, but that looked like a very good alignment. You could see that was going to go right over the hole. And this is one of those scenarios, so if I didn't practice, that would have been what, like 700 tiebreaker? And now we have another attempt in our arsenal where we can just get that much closer. And, realistically, burn through a couple of these, you're going to be able to win the round outright. So let's just kind of analyze everything here. Very similar strategy. You saw that I used the one left spin. We're going to do it again. We're definitely coming back more than we did last time, for sure. I'm going to be into the 8s this time. So let's pull down here. It looks like that alignment is pretty good with the hole. Keep in mind, last time I had it just a little bit tilted, but the wind was pointed just a little bit right last time. This time it's pointed just a little bit left. So with that in mind, I'm going to make just a slight tweak on my shot. Let's see what we have here. Oh, it is similar. It's similar in distance, so really it's like the same spot. But it's 9-2 this time. So let's make that tweak. It's saying 412. So let's just go ahead and try 412. Hopefully we can get the drop. It's coming in. Oh, still just a little bit hot. We still could have pulled back just a little bit. You can see it hops right over the hole, though. We could have got that to fall. Just needs to come back just a little bit far. Right around 10 rings there. So if you guys have a very similar bag, that might be a nice starting point for you. Burning through another practice token if we wanted to, we could have really refined that. And like I said, if it would have been for the win, it's one of those things that, saving that to be able to pull out on the 9th hole, going to be a very good way to be able to go for that. So you can see we're in a good position. A lot of these accounts are already done. So we know we're in good shape. We just weren't able to capitalize and get everything. You can see the guy below me. Let's just look at his card real quick. Oh, he got a 0 on tiebreaker on the first one. Oh, he got some really nice stuff on 7 and 8. So you can see he went for those greens, went for 4. He used some nice balls. So you can see he really kind of, got some really good tiebreakers there, but risked it a little bit too much on 1. So, that's one of those things where, you have the opportunity to go back as well. The replays are turned on, so if I wanted to go ahead and do this again, I still could. And we could really go after that guy's score. So here you can see replay 1 of 2. So there is 2 replays set up for this event. And, it does give you a good opportunity to potentially go back over, be able to refine and kind of improve on your positioning. And these are one of those things that if you do document your positioning, the next time you come back through, you can just try to do slightly mods and hopefully you're able to get those little slight tweaks to improve your scores. So best of luck out there. Let me know what you guys think and how you guys did. See you guys on the next one.